So, your website is the most important part of digital marketing. Your website is what everybody sees, whether they're coming from an email or if they're coming from social media at the end. They're looking at that, and that presence needs to reflect the very best parts of your business. But I notice for a lot of business owners, they don't even go to their website very often. They don't even check to see what's updated or what needs to be updated. So what we've done is we've created a quick guide so that you can, as a busy business owner, go in and do a website audit once a year and try to touch and cover all the bases with making sure that it's updated and that it reflects everything about your business that currently is out there. So the first thing you want to check is all the pages where you say years in business or years of experience are mentioned. A lot of people will say, oh, I've been in business for 20 years, and then they don't check their website and 5 years have gone by, right? It's much better to say, I've been in business since 1999. Then you don't have to do that. But if you did do that, you want to make sure that you're changing that often. And also, years of experience is the same thing. Second, check your website copyright date. There is code that you can put into every website that will automatically update the copyright date at the bottom of your website. You can talk to a web developer to get that done, or simply look it up if you know how to add that code. But having it change every year is easy, because there is nothing worse than when somebody looks at the copyright date of your website and it says 2014, and that's 10 years ago, because they think that you haven't had the time or inclination or effort or interest in updating your website for 10 years. So do yourself a favor and make sure that it looks current. Next, make sure all your forms are working. A lot of clients that we work with might have forms that come in infrequently, right? But if you don't know if your forms are working or not because you haven't tested them, maybe they're not working, and people, the best client of your life, had submitted a form and has been eagerly waiting to hear from you and you never got it. There could be issues with the form on the site. There could be issues with email delivery. This is something that you can either just test yourself, and if it doesn't work, then you can go to a web developer and see what the actual issue is. But that's a great thing to test, because, this should probably be something you test more than once a year, but it's definitely important that you do test that to make sure. Next, do you have email addresses on your site? If you do, there's no doubt that you probably get a lot of spam email. Web crawlers will go search through sites to find items that are formatted as email addresses. They will scrape those and they will send those to spam farms. And guess what? You're on a list. You're starting to get emails. It is a frustrating thing to walk into every morning, a bunch of spam. A lot of times people don't know that comes from the fact that your website has your email address right there on it for people to grab. So a better way to do that is always to put forms in. You can always say, instead of putting an email on there, you can put a form there. Some clients that I talk to mention that they want to have good customer service by putting their email on there, and that's fine, but you just realize that there's going to be a trade-off on that. Also, on your forms, it's important that you add a CAPTCHA on there, or some kind of protection against people just sending bots in to take over your forms and repeatedly send you junk. It's a very easy thing to do, and it's very effective. Always check your contact and location information. So we've gone into plenty of instances where businesses have moved and they haven't updated that, or they've updated on the website and they had a map embedded that didn't update with Google, so it was confusing. People will check hours. They will check locations. They will check to make sure that everything is still current with that. And if it's not, then it doesn't portray a very good picture. So make sure you check that information. A lot of people put announcements on the site, and announcements are good, but if you have an announcement and it's more than a year old, or some people have left their COVID announcements up, and a lot of times people have announcements for events that have passed. All of those things can make your website look dated. Have you turned over staff? If you have, and you have an About Us page, it is not very courteous to them to leave them up, because that could be found in a Google search. So imagine they're in a new position and somebody does a search and they see that they're listed at your company. Or there's a lot of reasons why you might not want to have them all there. And although those things should be taken care of immediately, it's best to just double check every year to make sure that all of your staff are on there. And actually, you might find one or two staff members that need to be on there. And if a staff member is not on the website and they see that their peers are, they might wonder why, and they might not be wanting to say anything. So it's good to update those pretty frequently. We want to check for broken links. If you have links that go out to other sites and that site switched the URL or went out of business or to any one of a number of things, you might have a link that's broken. It's best to either change those to ones that work or get rid of them altogether, because again, that's just a bad user experience. You want to check your blog. If the blog that you have is current, that's great. If you haven't updated it in some time and it does have dates on it, that looks like you potentially abandoned it, which also means that if you've neglected your blog, are you neglecting other parts of your business? It's just not a great look. A lot of times we recommend just taking the dates off of blogs, because then nobody can say when it was published as long as they are current information. So you can do that, but if you honestly aren't updating a blog regularly or participating in content marketing because you don't have the time, etc., it's best to probably just take the blog off your site. It's probably not doing you very much good there. One of the things that's a great hack that I like to tell business owners is to make sure that you have your website domain, your hosting, and your SSL, site certificate information all together in one place, along with the dates of renewal. Because what I see happens is a lot of times people cannot find where their domain is hosted, they don't know where their website's hosted, and they don't know when their site security certificate, which is the thing that makes the green padlock at the top, when that renews. If any of those have an old credit card on them, or for any reason you're not getting renewal emails, they could one day just go away, and then all of a sudden your website's down. And if you don't have that information somewhere, then unfortunately it's going to take you a lot of time to have some, and you probably will need help recovering all of that and getting it back set up. So if you have all of that and you're checking the renewal dates and making sure everything's current and that all your auto renews and your payment information is updated once a year, you shouldn't have that problem. Finally, take a look at your business goals. Is your website still serving your business goals? Business goals change very often, year to year, month to month sometimes, right? So make sure that in any case, if you take a look at your website, is it achieving what you want? Is it putting the right message out? Have you updated your brand identity? Are you selling new products? All of these are business goals that need to be reflected in a website, because again, you wouldn't have somebody walk into your business and have outdated wallpaper and everything on your walls that looks like it's the faded dry cleaner pictures from 1980s. You don't want that on your website either. It just gives a bad look. But more than that, it can be working for you and not against you. And I think that's the biggest message.